Hi, this is Millie Rose or RoseNothorn03, and this is my tutorial for wire testing. This module will have you cutting 5 wires and determining whether that set of wires is valid or not valid. So we've got various rules here which we'll cross-reference from the table and in the key of validity. We do need a bit of edge work. We do need the serial number, which I'll just quickly grab here. Foxtrot Romeo 5, Whiskey Echo 1, and we need to check if there's a DVID port, of which there is none. So that's all the edge work we need, and then we move on to the actual module. So I'll try and go through every single rule. If not, if I can't, then most of them are pretty simple to understand. So with this one, we've got a white and a yellow wire, and when we cut it, we get a false solve here. This turns green, so it's a false solve. So white and yellow and false solve is the word help, and the help rule tells us that if the serial number has any of these letters from please, help, or me, it's a valid wire. So we do have an E, so this is a valid wire, so you can mark it this one as valid. Next one is just yellow, and it strikes this. It's a false strike here. You see, it doesn't count up. So yellow with a false strike gives us a help, which we already know is valid. White, yellow, false solve, which we already know is the help rule here, so we already know this one's valid. White, yellow, there's a normal cut. See, nothing happened here. So this is a normal one, which means this is a red rule, and the red rule, if there are at least 3 wires coloured red in any way, so that includes blue, red, or single red. In this case, there are none, so this is a non-valid wire. And this is white, black, that gets pushed into the module when you cut it. So this is a 3 rule, not to be confused with tree, so this is 3. If the next wire down, so this is at the bottom, so we loop back around to the first one, is not coloured red in any way, this is valid, so this wire is valid. And so since we've got 4 or more valid wires, we confirm this selection, like this. And we move on to the second stage. We've got yellow, black, that gets pushed in. So yellow, black, and pushed in is the help rule, which we already know is valid. Single red, this is a false strike. So X-ray here. And the X-ray rule is if there are less than 3 strikes, this is valid. We have no strikes, this is a valid wire. We have just black with another false strike, which is the uwu rule. Now the uwu rule is worded a bit weirdly. If there's a uniform or a whiskey in the serial number, this is valid, otherwise it's still valid. So if you ever get an uwu, you know it's always going to be valid. Yellow blue is a false solve. Excuse me. Yellow blue is the alpha rule. Alpha, if there is more than one pressed in wire, this is invalid. Now, typically you'd have to wait until the end to figure out whether this is valid, but since we're on the 4th one, it's impossible. Oh no, sorry, we've already got a pushed in wire here. So we've got to put a question mark here. If this wire gets pushed in, then we know this is not valid. If it doesn't, this is valid. So this is a white-red wire that doesn't cut. So we've got don't cut and white-red, which is the tree rule, and tree. If this is the 3rd wire in the stage, it isn't, it's the 5th one. Or the wire's position is in the serial number, so this is position 5, which means if we've got a 5 in the serial number, which we do, this is valid. So this is a valid wire, and since we don't have 2 or more non-valids here, this is a confirmation. And the 3rd stage, we've got black with a pushed in, so we've got the 4 rule. So this is a bit complicated to understand, but we check the 2nd character in the serial number. The 2nd character is a Romeo, which is a letter. So we go straight here. If the 2nd character is a letter, the wire is valid if there is not a 4 in the serial. So since there is no 4 in the serial, this wire is valid. Then red, false strike, gives us X. If there are less than 3 strikes, this is valid, so this is a valid wire. Black, red, pushed in, which is another X, which is the strike rule. yellow, red, bip here, yellow light is bip, yellow, red, uwu we already know is completely valid, and we don't need to check this last one because as soon as 4 wires are valid or 2 wires are not valid, we know the solutions. This is confirm and this is the solve here. That really should be everything you need to know. The only complicated ones to understand are 4 because the manual words it a bit weirdly. Just an extra note is uwu is always valid and 1 is always never valid. It's invalid. But everything else double checks the wires and or the edge work. So thank you for watching. I hope this has helped you. See you next time.